So you've been hearing people talk about this OPR game mode, and maybe you decided it is finally time to try it out yourself. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be going over what OPR is, the positives and negatives, as well as some tips for new players to maybe make your experience in OPR that much more enjoyable. Before we fully get into today's video, I do just want to say if this video helps you out, or if you just like it, please drop it a like. It really helps me out a lot. And if you want to see more content like this, including more build videos, loot videos, stuff like that, definitely subscribe to the channel so you know when those videos do go live. I also live stream throughout the week over on Twitch as well as YouTube, so definitely stop by a stream, say hello, lurk, anything like that. We would love to have you. But let's get into today's video. To get us started here, we are first going to talk about what OPR is as a game mode. It is a 20 vs 20 PvP game mode, and the first team to reach 1,000 points wins. In order to reach 1,000 points or to get any points, your team has to claim the outposts and then push and try to maintain as many outposts as possible. In total, there are 3 outposts. You have Sun, Star, and Moon. Star and Moon are going to be on the outsides near each team's spawn, so then those are the ones that you are essentially going to get first. And then there's going to be a big fight for Sun, and then from there it's going to be kind of a push and shove to try to see where you can, end up pushing their team or maybe try to back cap or anything like that, because you just want to try to disrupt their, gaining of points and make it so you control the outposts for as long as possible. So that is kind of just the gist of what OPR is. But then from there, we're going to look into the portals and the Baron. So what the portals are is it is an event that is going to be off to the side of the map. You'll see it on your map when you actually go into OPR. And it will also show a timer for both Baron and portal in the top right of your screen. The portal, though, what you're going to do is head over to the portal. And this is something where you definitely don't have to do it. There's usually only required of like a couple players to go and do it. You're not really going to be sending an entire squad there necessarily. But what you're going to do is you're going to defeat the corrupted enemies over there. And then once you defeat the corrupted enemies, you'll go to the podium or the totem or whatever it is in the middle. And you are going to hit E on it. It'll show you a prompt. And then once you finish using your Azoth staff there, it is going to give you a brute token. With that brute token, you can then go to one of the outposts, and on either entrance of the outpost, you're going to see a little summoning stone thing. And when you walk up to that, you'll hit E. It's going to show you the available tokens that you have. There's a Wraith, there's a Bear, and the Brute. The Brute is the biggest and strongest and works really well for helping to take doors down or to just kind of maintain one of the entrances to that outpost. So that's what the portal is. It is on a time-based deal, so you can't just go there and continually farm up just over and over and over, unless the other team does not go for it. Now again, the brutes are not overly important. It does definitely help though if you have one, but it is not something that you need to go out of your way, especially as a new player for OPR. The second thing is going to be Baron, and Baron is an event that you are definitely going to want to try to get your entire team or the majority of your team there on time, because what it is going to do is you are going to fight for Baron. Whoever takes Baron is going to lock the other team, meaning they cannot get any points. Even if they own all 3 outposts, they will get 0 points contributed towards their score. So Baron fights are massive for your team. It can win or lose a match for you sometimes, depending on, how the match is going, how close it is, and stuff like that. And you do get a Baron buff, which I do not 100% remember exactly what the numbers are, but you do get like a resistance to some of the damage and stuff, I believe. Definitely correct me in the comments down below. I don't remember the exact numbers. If you do, let me know though, so everyone can take a look at that. But the Baron fights can be very, very fun. There are doors into the entrance because previously we had issues of people being able to snipe Baron from pretty much across map at that point. And it got really, really frustrating that you could literally just leave, a bow or musket user on the outside and they could just snipe Baron away from your team. So putting up the doors definitely helped to prevent that. You can still get people sniping, but that's where kind of monitoring the doors to not allow someone to get in last second and get that shot off is really, really important. So Baron fights definitely something that you want to pay attention to and make sure that you are on top of. The next thing I want to talk about with OPR that you have the option of, because it is a PvP game mode, but there is PvE involved. And that PvE, obviously, we talked about the portal and Baron, but there's also farming. So you can go and farm ores and wood and stuff like that and build doors. You can build a respawn on Star or Moon. And then you can also build turrets, oil vats, stuff like that. So the PvE currently in Season 4 is very, very strong, but there are some changes coming to Season 5 that is going to make it much, much better. They are actually making it so we will be able to take down doors much easier, because currently, essentially one person can out repair a door. They can repair more than the damage that's coming in, and it's kind of ridiculous. You can have pretty much an entire team hitting one door right now, and someone could just repair through the entire amount of damage. So they are making some changes for Season 5 that are really, really nice. We'll see. Currently it's in the PTR, so we'll see what actually ends up happening by the time it reaches live. But they finally are doing something about it, which is long overdue. But I'm really happy that they are making a push to make that better, because a lot of people hate it. A lot of people complain about it. And it is really ridiculous that people can out repair almost an entire team's worth of damage. The other thing that's going to be coming with Season 5 are mounts. Now, a long time ago, when mounts were first introduced, in the PTR, we actually were able to use mounts, and they kind of tested it, ended up pulling it. I don't remember exactly their reasoning, but they did decide to bring it in for Season 5. So for Season 5, you will be able to use your mounts, meaning you'll be able to get to those outposts that much quicker, which as a heavy armor, anyone playing heavy armor is going to be a lot happier because they can get around that much easier. So that's kind of what OPR is. It's just kind of a quick rundown of it. PvP, PvE. If you're just straight a PvEer, definitely, you can find parts of the game that you're going to like, but do keep in mind a lot of people do backcap. So if you're kind of getting comfy at your own outpost, just kind of PvEing and building it up, do be warned that someone very well will come back and potentially try to backcap you and kill you. So just be careful when you are doing some of the PvE side of it. All right, so next we are going to talk about the positives and negatives. So first, let's talk about the positives. The positives being the loot or the gear that you can get from it, both from the PvP track as well as the OPR caches. Now, they might not be best in slot, immediately, but you can definitely piece together some decent gear items, whether it's armor or weapons or anything like that. I have gotten lucky on some pulls, not all of them, but you can get some decent gear from it, so it is worth it from that standpoint. The other thing for positives, it is really good practice to just get used to a build in kind of a faster paced environment. So then when maybe you do go to PvE, it kind of slows things down for you. I know that's how it kind of works for me, and vice versa. If I play PvE a lot and then switch to PvP, I feel like sometimes like my aim and all that stuff is better. It just kind of depends, but I do find it pretty good practice, whether you're doing PvE or PvP, stuff like that, just to get some of those mechanical skills down. The next thing is gold. You can actually make a decent amount of gold through OPR and PvP in general. You do get paid out per OPR match, and then through the PvP track, you also have an opportunity to potentially buy some gold using your Azoth salt. So really, really nice, because although you're not making a ton of gold all in one lump sum, if you're spamming a bunch of OPRs and just kind of having fun with it, the gold does kind of add up over time. The other thing is with each individual match that you're playing, at the end of the match, you'll get gold, a cache, as well as dark matter. So if you are a little bit short on dark matter, you can definitely run some OPRs and get a little bit from it. It's not a ton, but it is a little extra here and there. And then the last thing, as far as the positives that we've kind of touched base on a little bit, is the PvP track. The PvP track is fantastic. You can get craft mods, you can get consumables, you can get all sorts of different things. The best thing that I like to get is gold, and then there's also obviously the artifacts that only drop through the PvP track, and there's, I believe, one or two that drop from the OPR caches. So it is worth it just from an artifact gathering standpoint, but I know that it can be, kind of tiresome for some people to run that many OPRs and try to build up your PvP track. Next, we are going to talk about the cons of the OPR game mode. One being toxicity, which any PvP game mode, no matter what, you are going to have toxicity. It is something that you can't really get away from in today's gaming world. It just happens. You're going to run into toxic people or toxic situations, and it is what it is. There's definitely some tips that I'm going to mention later to help avoid some of the toxicity and to try to just enjoy the game for what it is and just have fun playing it. Another con is being one-sided. There are a lot of one-sided matches because there's not currently any matchmaking. Now, matchmaking is something that I do believe they will be bringing in, but I don't think they have necessarily either. I don't know if it's the population or the perfect idea for it to make it balance, but I do believe that they will eventually bring matchmaking into OPR, and that'll be really, really nice. But currently, there is no real matchmaking. It's cross-world, so at least the population is pretty big, so you can get into matches pretty quick. But you will run into quite a few one-sided matches, and even with matchmaking, we're still going to run into one-sided matches, just hopefully we don't run into it as often. And the last part, which kind of ties into the toxicity part, is exploiters and cheaters, which again, PvP game modes, you're going to run into that. In just about any single game, people will be cheating, they will be exploiting, stuff like that. The best you can do is if you notice it, you can definitely report them. If they're not cheating or exploiting or anything like that, they won't get in trouble. If they are, then hopefully that the devs can catch it and get some action taken on those players, because exploiting cheating just makes it no fun for anyone. No one enjoys it. Maybe the people exploiting do, but it's just like there's not really much to it. It doesn't help the game at all. It doesn't help the game mode or anything like that. But those are some of the positives and negatives to OPR that at least I've seen. Let me know in the comments, though, if there are other positives or negatives that you see with OPR. All right, so the last part that we are going to talk about are tips for you new players. Because I know as a new player for OPR, it can be very overwhelming. You don't really know what you're getting yourself into. You might see some toxic people calling you out for maybe being new, but they don't know that you're new to it. So my first tip is hide your chat. You can leave your team chat on if you want, or your army chat, but honestly, I would just turn off all your chat. And just not worry about it for your first few matches at least, unless that doesn't bother you. But I know a lot of people don't like to see the toxicity. They don't like hearing people complain. You might be a new healer healing in OPR and the team's going, where are the heals? Why aren't you healing for more, this and that? And honestly, it can be easier to just hide the chat and just try to learn the game and enjoy it as is, because people are going to get very, uptight with some stuff. And for me, at least, I like to hide chat sometimes, even just because I just want to sit, chill, and enjoy the game. And that's totally fine. You can definitely do that. The next tip that I'm going to have for you is paying attention to Baron timer. The Baron timer is going to be at the top of your screen, and you do want to make sure you're paying attention to that, because Baron is so important. Now, if you're a healer and you look at your map and, Baron's up and no one else is there, then maybe don't go there by yourself, or you could try to snipe it if you want, but it can be really, really tricky if your team isn't working together to go and push Baron. Now, there is a chance that even with your whole team there, someone does pop in and snipe it. That is always a potential chance, but watch those doors, make sure that people don't go in and do that, or try to just disrupt them so they might not, be able to actually snipe it at the end. And then that leads me into actually the next part, which is checking your map to see your team. When you go to your map in OPR, it'll actually show all of your teammates around the map. Now, it is not always fully up to date. It's a little bit delayed, but you can at least see, okay, we have, a few people on their way to Baron. I'm going to start heading there. Or we have a bunch of people on Sun. I'm going to go to that team fight. Maybe it says, like your spawn is starting to get pushed or whatever. It's under attack, and you go to the map, you see no one's there. Well, you're going to go there and maybe try to counter them. So checking your map and paying attention to that is really, really important. I know I need to do it more, but I do try to check it every so often so I can keep up to date on where my team's at and where I might need to go and play. And the final tip that I'm going to have for not only new players, but absolutely everyone, is have fun. I know it can be really, really tricky because you might have a one-sided match. You might have some toxicity towards you. If it's getting that irritating for you, and this goes for myself as well, take a break. take a few matches off. You might get some new people in the lobbies. It's cross-world, so if you're just queuing up one after another, your chances of getting into matches with those same people who are going one after another is a lot higher. But honestly, just have fun with it. Like I said, turn off your chat if you have to. Play different builds, try some quirky builds if you want, go for cool plays. Just really have fun with it. Play the builds that you love, play the game how you want to play it, and just again, have fun. I've had a lot of fun games where we've lost, but I've had some really cool plays, or it was a really close match, or anything like that. Like, winning doesn't always mean it's fun. I've won games and had no fun in the game because it was either one-sided or whatever. There are moments where a loss can be fun, and there are moments where a win can be not fun. So really just enjoy it, have fun, focus on your own playing, try to play with the team if you can. But really, as a new player especially, like, just try to take your time learning it and see what you enjoy about the game mode. And maybe you won't enjoy the game mode, but at least try it and see if it is for you or not. OPR can be a very fun game mode or very frustrating depending on the match or maybe the people you're up against. But honestly, it can be very, very profitable for you both for gold and gear and stuff like that. So I do think there are a lot of positives, more positives than negatives to playing OPR. And with the changes coming to Season 5, I think that the game mode is going to get that much better, and hopefully they just keep improving on it and eventually even get us a new map, which I know a lot of people are waiting for. But that is going to do it for today's video, so until next time, I'll see you guys later.